So, first of all, I'm really pleased and honored to be here today. It's an incredible opportunity to share with you our journey to shared value. We started at Enel only in 2012. Let me briefly introduce myself because my name is Maria Cristina. I'm Italian. I don't know how many European people have. Yes, great one. The other one is my colleague, Marc, but you are living in Geneva, but actually you are from US, if I understand well. No, you are. So we are three, more or less. That's great. Meaning that, so we do care about what's happening all around the world. Enel is a utility, meaning it's a multinational company. We are generating, distributing, and selling energy in, at the moment, most 35 different countries, everywhere, let's say, in the world, in all the continents, Africa included. We started in 2012. Actually, at the time, I was working in Enel Green Power. That was, at that time, the small branch that was dealing with renewable energies. Inside a huge group that was strongly committed also with the fossil fuel energy, for instance, thermal generation. And at the time, we were so small, a group of people that strongly believed in, yes, in thinking out of the comfort zone, trying to do something in a different way to change the world. And so we were growing, looking for business opportunities everywhere in the world, and it happened to participate to a few tenders in South Africa. So it was 2012. And we soon understood that we had to reshape the way we were considering sustainability. That was mostly CSR and a little bit of philanthropy, as normally corporations do. We jumped into the model of Porter and Kramer. We decided to adopt it, customizing that model, considering the entire value chain at Enel, meaning business development, engineering and construction up to the operation phase. So a lot of work to do. We did it. We were very happy, very satisfied. We grow a lot in renewable energies. And now, let's say that the CEO of Enel Green Power at that time took the edge of the company in 2014, and he said, okay, well done, now we need to do the same for the entire group, because what we want to do, starting from sustainability, is reshaping the way a utility can stay in the market in the long run. So what I want to share today with you is a company perspective and a journey to shared value, which is not finished at all. We are right in the middle, but we do think we are on the right path to change the world, because this is what we want to do, and we are strongly committed to do. So let's say that, starting with Africa, because we want to discuss about Africa today. Africa is huge, is a land of great opportunities, abundance of different resources, but of social inequalities. Incomes are different in every region. There are a lot of opportunities also in terms of spreading, let's say, this wealth, because in Africa, you can see the GDP is at a great rate from one decade, if I remember well. So a lot of opportunity, but spread in different ways all around the continent. So yesterday someone said, we can consider Africa as one country. This is quite clear, because there are different regions. And also look, in terms of energy, what's happening in Africa. This is alarming in a way, because we see that more than 50% of the entire population of Africa has no access to electricity at all. If we do consider that huge number of 1,200,000,000 people without access to electricity, I tell you that 80% of that rate is Africa. That's alarming, because if we consider the growth in population that is expected in Africa by 2030, that amount is not going to improve. So we have a problem because we have a lot of countries in East, West Africa, Southern Africa as well, that are really doing a lot to improve, foster socioeconomic development. There are a lot of young, smart, young people that are setting up enterprises to foster and boost this socioeconomic development. But how can we do that with this situation in terms of electricity? So, starting from this point, this is the first question that inside Enel we started to ask ourselves. How can we change the way a utility stay in the market? Because it's quite clear, and I love, Zoe, what you said, it's true. We need to go out from our comfort zone, not only personally, which is our responsibility, and it's fine. Also, as a corporation, we need to think and reconsider things from a different perspective. You can imagine the way normally a utility or a multinational can manage or can, let's say, foster and get the target of the sustainable development goals in terms of access to electricity. That's the situation. If we think to continue to build up huge plants that normally takes a lot of time and money, we are not going to solve the problem we have seen before. We need to reconsider the way we can spread energy all around. And that's the question. Business as unusual, according to us, is the answer. And we understood that innovation and sustainability are key to reshape the strategy inside the company. We used to say that, according to us, sustainability is the driver. Because if you take strong commitment for the sustainable development goals, you have to change the way you're doing your business accordingly. And innovation is the driver to reshape the way you're doing things. So we are talking about energy efficiency, we are talking about the way we can give and offer new products to our customers. And also the demand is different. There are people with no access to electricity, and that's a huge global issue. But there are the double of that amount I told you before. So many people at low income rate that cannot afford the energy they have. Maybe not that reliable, but they cannot pay the electricity bill. So what we can do as a utility, what kind of responsibility we can take to change that? According to us, there are a lot of things that we can do. We need to decentralize our approach, for instance. What does it mean? It means that it's important also to reconsider what renewable energy can bring to the world. It's clean. It's quite easy to do it because you don't need that much time to set up a plant, a hydro, a solar, or a wind farm, for instance, also a geothermal one. We have done one in Latam, in Chile, in only 18 months. So you can imagine, it's more decentralized so that you can reach many people, and it's not expensive because we need to stop the idea that fossil fuels are cheaper than the renewables one. It's not true any longer. Everyone that has been to Kenya or Tanzania or Uganda recently can see PV solar panels at every corner of the streets. So what we need to do, and this is at the same time absolutely important, is to give the technology of this new market in the hands of the people. So we are talking about a new model of decentralizing the production of energy that considers also the idea of smart grid solution, off-grid or on-grid, because the lack of infrastructure in Africa is another issue. That means a lot of investment on that. So why don't we consider to teach people, to give new skills and competencies to the people so that they can do their own energy. And this is what we are doing. It's not the only answer, because the most important answer to all these is that if we really want to push further and change and better the world, we need to consider how to foster the socio-economic development of every single region. It means that thanks to the CSV approach, the shared value approach, we can work together at local levels, with NGOs, with communities involved, to understand their own needs. Because it's true that we are talking about global issues. But at the very end, the issues are always local, and cultures are different, needs are different, and there is not just one single answer. There are different answers that maybe we can scale, that's important, but at different levels. So, what we are doing mostly, for instance, in South Africa, just to give you a few examples, when we entered the country with renewables, we soon understood that this was a new market opportunity because renewable was new. So we settled up an academy, a PV training academy, just to give the opportunity to a lot of people in South Africa to access to this new market, giving them the knowledge and the skills to work in this new market. So we are talking about job opportunities. This is just one possible solution. This is easily scalable all over in the world. Another one I like to mention, because the Barefoot College is an Indian NGO. I'm really fond of Mr. Banker Roy. He is a visionary man. And the idea was, at the same time, giving the technology in the hands of people. I'm in South Africa, so I really want to quote the words of an inspiring man, a man that inspired, let's say, the entire world, Nelson Mandela. What he used to say was, we have a powerful weapon in our hands, that is education. Education can change the world, and that is true. Look at the Barefoot College. The Barefoot College was settled in the, let's say, early 80s in India, in Rajasthan, and since that date, every year there are more or less 40 women coming from all different countries of the world. They go there for 6 months. They don't even speak the language, of course, and most of them never left their own villages. They are coming from rural, isolated, remote villages. They are all women. I will tell you later why there are women. They learn to maintain, install, and maintain at the very end solar kits and solar panels, doing by themselves the PCB, the circuits, and everything. Then they come back to their own communities, remote and isolated, and they can bring the light. Each rooftop, one by another. This is another possible solution. That was so successful, we started it in Latin America 2-3 years ago, and now we have 40 solar engineers that are doing and spreading this technology in 10 different countries in Latin America. And we decided to set up a school in Tanzania, doing this for Africa. Another option, why women? Because we understand that women normally are so based in their own villages, then when they get the technology and they know how to manage it, they are not going to leave their villages. They stay and they do something to improve the quality of life. If you do something like this with a man, normally they leave the village looking for better opportunities in the city, and so you are not going to solve the issue at all. Another solution, Leader of Light. Leader of Light are smart guys, Italian and Filipino. What do? Simple idea. Recycling the waste of electronic components and plastic bottle, and then teaching the people, also the kids, we have done this in Nojoli and at Rustlers Valley, for instance, to make their own solar lamps and public lighting, street lights. So The cost is almost zero, but the technology and the skills are something that make you proud because you do by yourself, and it's quite easy. It's not the solution of the figures that we have seen before. But you see, there are a lot of things that we can do and share together. Education in Kenya, it's important, starting from school, to talk about the importance of energy, the source of energy, the importance of renewable energy, how you can do it by yourself. What is energy efficiency? Because energy efficiency is the way we have to leverage, the greenhouses emissions in most of the cities and also in rural areas. But how can you ask people with no poor access to electricity to be also efficient? It's impossible. We need to foster a socio-economic development, taking into account what we have at disposal locally. And so this is what, for instance, we have done here in the northern region. The idea was we had some waste in terms of wooden pallets in few construction sites in South Africa. We decided to reuse, so in a circular economy approach, that waste, and to set up some wooden schools to teach carpentry to the community. This was not an idea that came out from Enel only, but was shared and decided with the local communities involved. And so now, these people there settled up their own small enterprises. I know that they have done a restaurant in that area and also a kiosk. So our small things, just to give you and share with you the examples of how many things can be done. Mostly, if we join together, this is what Marc was saying and was calling yesterday as the collective impact. We can do anything alone. We can have, let's say, great passion. We can maybe understand the direction. We want to change. We want to go out of our comfort zone, as I was saying, but it's not enough if we do not work together with institution governments. Governments need to take their role if we want to reach the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals and much more on the Paris Agreement for climate change. That's relevantly important. And most of all, we need to work and talk with the people, which are our stakeholders, with universities and with smarter, younger start-uppers, incubator, accelerator. There are plenty of these great opportunities in Africa, and we are working now together with all these people, hoping to be part of the companies that can change the world. Thank you.